Something hidden and unusual is happening in this curious construction in Texas. Anonymous, unidentifiable, with an odd superstructure, it guards its secrets well. Outsiders are discouraged from approaching, though now and then a few people do arrive in black and sinister sedans and disappear, sometimes for weeks on end. When they emerge, after living through who knows what, it's said their characters, even their lives, have been somehow changed. Behind these locked doors, something funny is going on. A wide white palace out on the range, the withdrawn world of the greenhouse, which sells moonbeams, which restores vitality to exotic flora and fauna. This rarefied atmosphere's cost £1 million to contrive, and they're bending over backwards in their search for youth. Here, some of the richest women in America gather for solace and repair, for Tenderlovingcare, all dedicated to the cause, the elusive vision of becoming younger and slimmer and sexier. This is a beauty spa, or, if you must be unkind, a fat farm. The plump and aging, the wrinkled and wearied and bored, come humbly to this perfumed palace, bathed in the soft glow of money, to surrender dollars and dignity in exchange for reassurance. The price they pay climbs from £55 a day to £110 a day, plus extras, plenty of extras. But it's handed over willingly in this earnest, funny, sad, and somehow charming pursuit of beauty. The workaday world outside is dismissed. The water in the pool laps quietly and is always exactly 95 degrees. A single climate holds evenly the year round. The air's heady with scent and soft music. Yes, it's a long way from Coronation Street. Or, is it? The greenhouse was conceived and built exclusively for women. Until now, these steely southern belles who manage it, the iron butterflies in control, have permitted no man to enter, even if he'd dare. But now, for the first time, we can see what's going on in this vast independent queendom designed to pamper just 35 women. Always, there's a waiting list of disciples. Among them, the Duchess of Windsor and Pearlmaster, Gloria Vanderbilt and Lady Bird Johnson. To such women, the greenhouse is a sort of haven on earth. The basic £800 a week provides, as you might expect, reasonable comfort.
It's beautiful.
Everything's lovely and lavish, except the food. The menu offers 850 calories a day. For breakfast, half a grapefruit and a slice of Melba toast so thin you can read your daily schedule through it. But to distract the appetite, colour television with exotic foreign performers.
The Tom Jones Show.
Tonight at 7:30, 6:30 Central Time on ABC.
Then to work. They're here to be shaped and baked, steamed and creamed.
It's relaxing.
Do you find that most of the ladies who come here are tired?
Yes.
Why, I wonder?
Oh, they're maybe under very strained, or they have maybe more children home, and so they come here to just go away, fun everything. Doorbell, telephone, just fun everything. In here, they can't forget.
I come to do my income taxes. I just lock myself up. Is that right? I come every January.
But can't you do them at home? You've got so much room at home.
I know, but I can't do them with the telephones ringing. And go into parties, and people telephoning you, wanting to sell you a crocheted bedspread. So I just come out here and lock myself up. They get me bridge tables. I bring just I'll bring all my papers, do my work out here.
When are you planning to come for the 11th time?
Again, you mean? When they get a vacancy, or somebody dies, they haven't got any room for me.
When you have to pay some more income tax?
Not for next year. But I'll be back.
I put cold iPads on, and then my lady can rest around 12 to 15 minutes. And I make the room dark, and then comes a nice I hope a nice little sleep. But it's still a hard day to go through.
Over, breath out, relax. Breathe in and over, breath out. Breathe in, breath out. Breathe in, breath out. Breathe in, breath out. Breathe in and relax. Good. And relax. Then still keep both hands on the bar and they fall away. Bend the knees, relax, breath out. Breathe in straight. Tighten the buttocks, curl under, breath out. Relax.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax. 2, 3, 4.
What made you decide to come here? What are you looking for here?
I'm looking to learn how to stay young.
Eternal youth.
Right.
Do you think you're finding it?
Well, I think I'm learning how to do the exercises and learning how to take care of skin and body.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to help,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes. Actually, all the individual things you could find elsewhere, presumably. You don't have to come to a place where everything is done at once.
Well, that's true, but it's sort of a crash program. You can learn everything in one place.
There is something slightly narcissistic about it, I suppose.
I'm very vain. I think there is definitely something like that about it. There's no doubt. But I think that also has got to do with maintaining youth, is you have to want to.
Most women, the only guide they have to putting on makeup is by using a picture in a magazine, which may or may not have the same shaped face or the same coloring as she might have. So even if they're copying a picture, it's not always going to get the result they're trying to achieve. So they need someone who is objective, let's say, someone who can look in that mirror and see a face as a face, and then try to make it look better, changing some things, correcting, or making shadows where there aren't any.
That's the truth. I've never worn makeup like this in my life. Just rouge here and here.
Sure, you never knew where it went, for one thing.
Perhaps you've been reading the wrong magazine.
That's true.
See, I want to be a cool chick.
Look up toward the ceiling.
One thing I have noticed is that the people who come here to the greenhouse are always very proud about it, aren't they? They talk about it at parties and that sort of thing.
Yes.
It's something.
Indeed we do.
It's like a campaign, isn't
It's
it?
a status symbol, that's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it is. Like a Royce Rolls.
Yes, yes, like a Royce Rolls. Cool chicks in their Royce Rolls atmosphere, all ardently dedicated to rejuvenation, all half believing that the very next time they look in a mirror, something magical will have happened. They'll see themselves transformed into a sort of wholesome sex pot. Meanwhile, in the grounds outside, and symbolically, nature's also given a little artificial assistance. Now, I've heard about green fingers, but this is ridiculous. How often do you dye your grass?
We do this once a year. We do it in the fall of the year when the grass becomes dormant. We spray it with the green dye, and it will pretty well stay, until the green grass comes next spring.
Now, why do you think they want it done?
Well, I think it's just a matter of beauty. You see, that looks a little better out there than this does out here, and they just want it green, so they go to that expense to do it.
But you've been here for some years. How do you get along as almost the only man in a greenhouse full of women?
I get along splendid. They're real sweet to me. I like the people. Some people are arrogant. Where you have to deal with them, where you have to work with them, they're a little hard to please. But like I say, as far as I'm concerned, they're nice.
How do you handle the arrogant ones?
They don't argue with me.
Now, I was talking to Mrs. Carter yesterday, and she doesn't think much of some of your hyacinths here.
She's a bad critic of mine, boy. she's all right. She has every advantage in the world. We have a lot of disadvantages around here.
What advantages does she have?
Well, she's got 2 or 3 gardeners, and she brought some potting soil over here, and I wish you could have seen it. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know where she got it or what she paid for it, but it was wonderful. Anything would grow. You could stick a dead stick in it and it would grow.
My driver drove me out and he said, well, our grass isn't this green. And so that was when Spencer volunteered the information. They painted.
But you don't paint yours.
No. My place is really pretty now. And I love to bring oh, you wait till my tulips bloom, I'll be bringing those out. That's all I do is raise flowers and grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
After a hard day down on the beauty farm, they gather for what the schedule calls social chit-chat. This is kaftan time, poochie pants time, the hour when diamonds glitter on toweling turbans, when they get out of bathrobes and grease and set out to impress each other. And Jiggers, the butler, proffers a silver salver of raw vegetables.
Here, a woman is in treatment all week, except when she goes to town, and she has on a turban made out of terry cloth at night. Underneath it, her hair is all grease, and it's straight as a string of her. She has got natural curly hair, and of course they really can make themselves look very devastating with gorgeous earrings. And we have one guest that has fabulous jewelry and comes down and she looks like a Maharani because she has this white terry cloth towel, which we just use up in the hair salon, and on the side of it, draped over one ear, is this gorgeous $75,000 diamond clip. Now, you know, that's utterly chic. I mean, when anybody comes down just in a 25, 50-cent towel, you know, which we use in the hair salon just as, you know, for casual purposes. But, as I say, once in a while, we wonder if they have the jewelry. They'll try to get everything all in one night.
I have 4 children at home, and I have a busy life. I have to cook and transport children back and forth, and when I'm here, I don't have to think about anything but myself.
Yes.
The whole time I'm here, and that's unusual in our busy life in this day and age. They take care of all your thinking for you.
Yes.
So.
It is very expensive, is it not? I mean, it does cost a lot of money.
Well, it does, but everything costs money now. If you travel around the country and stay in a motel, it usually costs around $20 a night, I would say, for a couple to spend a night in a motel.
Yes.
And beside that, you'd have to buy your meals. And actually, I think you're getting a lot for your money.
Well, there's a lot of difference between $20 a night and what, $1,000 a week?
No, it's not $1,000 a week.
$900, let's say.
No. Well, by the time you pay for your airplane ticket, and then when you go to Neiman Marcus and do some shopping, and then you buy the cosmetics that you have to pay for those. So we figured it cost $1,000 to come up here, but we think it's well worth it.
Why?
Well, my husband was so delighted with the results last year that he insisted that my daughter come back with me this year. So he's very happy to finance both of us, and he's not a wealthy man.
You see why I'm over here? I'm so fat. I made the mistake of quitting smoking and going on a 20-pound cruise at the same time. And I went to visit my daughter in Sydney, Australia, and they called it a 20-pound cruise, and I gained every one of them. So that if you want to know why I'm at the greenhouse, that's why. One of the reasons.
Do you think will you lose all the 20 pounds?
I intend to, and you know you lose when you go home. This is my 3rd year, and I just love it.
Yeah. But you have a cruise each year.
You have to build up a little momentum when you have that much to lose. You have to get a running start.
There's the dinner bell.
You ought to run through our schedule one day and you'd see.
Yes.
You know, they are going to have couples here in August. You better come back and
get some
see
treatment.
What the treatment the men get.
I could use it. I could certainly use it. Now, what does it do to your morale? Do you find your morale is much improved?
Well, with every pound I lose, my morale goes up accordingly.
Yes.
And when you get to the point where you're not interested in buying clothes, it's time to do something.
And you were working at it, because I saw you on the parlor bars the other
indeed,
day.
I'm getting it. I don't believe in cheating at solitaire, coming over here and cheating at the greenhouse, because you're here for the benefit, and I intend to get every bit that I can.
Well, now, you ought to start by not joining the other ladies at dinner now. How about not having dinner?
Well, I'm on 500 calories a day, and that couldn't... you have to put a little fuel in if you're going to work, you know. So... Now, you say this is terribly expensive, but...
So really,
and yet you get everything here that you would get on a very wonderful vacation, and you don't come back 20 pounds heavier like you would if you took a 3-week cruise in the Caribbean, for instance.
So
and it would cost you approximately the same.
You've convinced yourself that you're saving money by coming here.
Yes, it's a bargain at any price. Won't you join us for dinner?
No, I'm frightened of putting on weight. A starved scamper for those few calories. They're served beneath a dangle of chandeliers on delicate Limoges china and exquisitely arranged. Each woman's paying several £100 a week to be starved, and every night, most elegantly, they go through the motions of eating. See, Mr. Marcus has described this place as a hothouse for wilted ladies.
Well, they're not all wilted. They're lovely.
The greenhouse is controlled by a Texan whisper from Mrs. Polly Williams.
Mr. Marcus has also said that the greenhouse affords the sixth freedom, and the sixth freedom is the freedom of never having to make a decision while you're here. And I think this might fit our guests better than wilted ladies, because they may come in from busy households and such, but they're never wilted. They're only tired when they get here. What we're trying to achieve is a quietness and a peace, and to train our women, our guests I should say, a way of life that maybe they've not known before, with this peace and serenity. And
you're also you're holding back the clock and the calendar.
We're holding back the clock and the calendar, if that can be done. That is so true, while they're here.
Now, it does seem to me that in doing this, you're not broadening their intellectual horizons at all.
Well, possibly they don't come here to be broadened intellectually. Most of these women are very intellectual when they get here. They're women who have studied and been to fine schools throughout the world. They've traveled tremendously to all parts of the world, and maybe they don't want to be bothered with the intellectual. This would be my impression, even though there's some very intellectual conversations and some very stimulating conversations that go on among the guests.
Every night when we sit down for dinner, all we talk about is food and sex, and we've got none of either out here. Oh, no, I'm not trying to hold the calendar back. Mm-mm. I'm 73, going to be 74 years old. And...
You're boasting again, aren't you?
But I'm going to do everything I can to stay this way, because I don't abuse myself.
After days of deprivation, the greenhouse girls are allowed one afternoon off in the world outside. Like a school outing, like children going to the zoo, they dress up and set off with giggles and glee in a squadron of black sedans. I get the feeling that you've been sprung.
For the afternoon?
Yes.
Well, you might call it that.
But you've got to get back, you know.
Yes.
They're coming to collect you.
Because they lock the door, and we have to knock to get in, you see.
Still a captive group, they're wafted into Dallas and permitted an afternoon shopping at that ultimate in Texas department stores, at Neiman Marcus, which sells his and her jets to people with oil wells. As you can imagine, this is no ordinary shopping expedition.
Now, Miss Contessa, this is something that I'd like for you to look over. This is one of our very fine cheetah coat. Very fine cheetah
You
coat.
think that'll look good on me? That style?
Anything would look nice on you.
Oh, you're a doll.
Sure, it would be just fine.
Just open it like this. It's all leather lined. See, half lined. This is what. It's 120.
And the little Beller jacket, isn't that adorable? That is 1600 BC. Is that fascinating? Made of clay. And you can feel the clay coming up from your hands. Here.
Then, after that taste of liberty, back behind locked doors again, back to the regime.
I'm sure that at all places of this type, there are a lot of women who do a little cheating. And I think you're defeating your own purpose when you do it. Then they raised Cain because they picked up 2 pounds.
You see, we're one step ahead of them. We have the refrigerators locked, so they won't be a source of temptation.
Are you doing? And if they're going to sneak down, is there a guard? They have to tip
There's
their
a guard, yes, and he will come out with a flashlight, and then this word gets around, so obviously they're not going to do this. I mean, most of the women, I must be, as I say, truthful, and say that there are probably 1 or 2 women that cheat. If they do, I wouldn't be aware of it.
I'm being told of gift-wrapped bottles of scotch coming back from Neiman.
Well, now you see, there are rumors, of course, flying everywhere. And of course, as a woman's room is her palace, and we do not pry. And if she has anything in her room...
Don't search them.
No, and we tell the maids not to talk. They are not supposed to discuss this with one another because stories would get around, and you know how stories are among women. They would get magnified and get all out of proportion. Now, of course, we know that in this world there are people that drink, and they drink secretly. And if they do it, it's done so that I would be unaware of it. I'll be very truthful with you.
Now, are there any people that you wouldn't want to have here? Really?
Yes, there are people that do not fit into the greenhouse. They are, yes, we do have people we do not want.
And what sort of people would they be?
Well, they would be very gauche, and they would be loud, and they would be ordinary, and we just don't want people like that, and we don't have them.
How do you manage to keep them out in that case? I mean, do you have a blacklist?
We do, yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
So that there are some people who have been here and perhaps have not fitted in.
That is so true, yes. They haven't fitted in, so we prefer not to have them ever again.
What about the kind of women you get here? You see, they're all rich women, they're spoiled women. Does this mean that some of them are going to be difficult women?
Well, now, I want to correct you in that. They're not all spoiled women. They are wealthy women, obviously. They cannot afford these prices if they aren't. But they're just a general group of people like you would have in your own home.
Are you trying to propagate any philosophy here?
I would say that the philosophy of the greenhouse is a surrender. While you are under the loving care and the roof of this greenhouse, someone has said that the greenhouse affords the 6th freedom, and that is the freedom of never having to make a decision while you're here. It's almost like a womb-like existence because you're so completely removed from the world and all of its problems while you're under the roof of the greenhouse.